Okay, this is chapter 10.1. I want to talk about this guy. This is one of our conic sections, and you can tell that the x is squared. There is no y squared, so with only one of the terms squared, that's a parabola. So this is a parabola, and I want to put them into standard form, and this is the proper standard form. So to do that, I want to complete the square, and this is algebra. There's kind of no calculus here for a little while, and but that's tough on students. I find students don't do too well with this on a test question or so forth. So anyway, let me help you. To complete the square, let's see. I think I want to move, let's see. One thing you do when you complete the square is you're completing the square on the x's. And you need a coefficient to be 1. So you kind of factor out this 3. So I have x squared plus 2x plus, then I'm going to leave a blank space. That's going to be me completing the square. But I had to factor out that 3. Now, I'm going to move these other guys to the other side. This is going to be a positive 8y and a negative 40 when I move them to the other side. All right, well, I'm ready to complete the square. You know, completing the square is you take half that number and square it. Half that number is a 1. You square it, it's a 1. You're adding a 1. Now, to be legal about it, when you add 1 to one side, you better go add 1 to the other side. But hold on, be careful. I didn't really add a 1. I added a 1 with this 3 factored out. I actually added a 3. So I'm going to go to the other side of the equation and add 3. Okay, I have a perfect completed square. It is x plus 1 quantity squared with this 3 out front. I should have maybe made that a little nicer. This is not going to be nice, except I'm a fan of not nice numbers. That's a negative 37 is what that is. Now, you can look to where you're shooting for. You're shooting for a number factored out in front of that y minus k. So I think I need to factor the 8 out. Now, again, I could have made it nicer, but I can factor an 8 out of a 37. I'm left with 37/8. That's not pretty. This is not, I made up this example. When I make up examples, they don't come out too pretty sometimes. Here's the other thing. You don't want that 3 sitting there. You want all the numbers right here. All the numbers got to be right there. So I'm going to divide by 3. So x plus 1 squared equals 8/3 y minus 37/8. And now it's in standard form. And when it's in standard form, I can identify the vertex. The vertex is that HK, negative 1, 37/8. Negative 1, 37/8 is the vertex. And what I'm looking for is to identify the number p. What's sitting there is 4p. That's what's sitting there is 4p. So 4p equals 8/3. So p is 2/3. Now, I haven't told you what that is yet. I guess I will now. I'm going to try to graph this. I'm going to get rid of this work above me here, so I got room to graph this. That was the way to complete the square. We put them into standard form, and I can identify P and the vertex. So let's see if I can draw this guy. You know, it's a parabola. It's one of the parabolas that opens up and down. When x is squared, that's an up or down parabola. When it's positive here, when there's a positive coefficient, it opens up. The vertex is negative 1, 37/8. What's 37/8? 4 and 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 4 and 5/8 right here. So there's the vertex. It opens up. And then there's this distance p. And p is the distance from the vertex to the focus. It was a positive number. You know, if this would have been negative, maybe you would have called p negative, and you would have went down to the focus. But this parabola opens up, and the focus lives right there, and it lives a distance of 2/3 from the vertex. So the vertex is negative 1, 37/8. The focus is negative 1, and then I got to take 37/8 plus the 2/3. Yeah, good job. I'll let you do that. Anyway, there's a parabola sitting here, and we got the vertex labeled pretty well, and this distance of 2/3, this distance, P equals 2/3, took me to what's called the focus. The focus of the parabola. I can talk more about what that means in physics, terms of physics and so forth. There's another number, actually, if you go down behind the parabola, a distance of 2/3, another distance of 2/3 behind the parabola, there's a line called the directrix. So when I ask for all the important information of a parabola, I'm asking for the vertex, the focus, and the directrix. The directrix is this line. It's an imaginary dashed line. Again, I can explain the physics of what it means in a minute. But right now it's a line, and it's at y equals whatever 37/8 minus 2/3 is. 37/8 minus 2/3. So, did you guys do that math? You want me to do it? What's the common denominator? Oh my goodness. Oh, God. Calculator might be helpful. I think I get 127/24. What's this? I'm saying it's 111/24 minus 16/24. So that must be 95/24. So 95/24. I could have made a mistake, but not too often. All right, that's fun. That's good work. I want to talk more about this geometry, some other special. I mean, I just wanted you to see the work and what I want. We want the directrix, the focus, and the vertex for a parabola. Now I'll talk about what that stuff means in a minute. All right, thank you. Do some homework.